Hello and welcome to the United Stand. It's our Sunday morning papers review. However, if you're watching later in the week, you're still going to get a lot from it. And there's a brilliant comment in the live comments, which I want to come back to later in the show because I'm really interested in that. 30 likes on a video. That's brilliant. However, we've started, Adam. So here we go. It is a review of the papers, but also I've done a little bit of homework for you because I like to get things... I like to go for things that are a bit more credible. Thankfully, there's no we're going to sign Messi or Neymar this weekend. And most of the transfer rumours I've looked at are quite credible. However, hello, Isaac. What I would say is that I've looked at something today. I'm not going to say where it's from. Some of you might guess. But it basically gives a score out of 5 on the likelihood of United signings in the next few weeks. So we've got a top 5 from that, which feeds in with what the headline is. We've got Matic from Chelsea. We've got Rodriguez, James from Real Madrid. Paul Pogba, obviously. Also Fabinho and anybody else who wants us as well. Andrew Hastings is saying Juventus to pursue Matic if Pogba leaves. Let's start with Nemanja Matic. It's not the most glamorous one, but we haven't spoken about him for a long time. Bryson wants me to say my name. Yeah, Nemanja Matic, what is he, 27? Not a great season last year. Good season the season before. We were linked to him when he was at Benfica. He went to Chelsea. Obviously, he's a good defensive midfielder, box to box. When he's for a big man, he drives forward with the ball quite well. He breaks the play up. He didn't have a very good season last year. I've got to be honest about that. However, some United fans would like him. I want to take your comments on this. What do you think about Matic? While yours come in, I will tell you now. Chris Beaver says he would avoid signing any Premier League players, to be honest, which is weird and goes opposite to what I would do because I think Premier League players that are proven are very important. Like Kante's just gone to Chelsea. I'm not bothered because we're clearly not anything about him. Tomiano saying, have you heard about Fabinho, Mark? Yes, we will be discussing him in a moment. Andrew Hastings, Matic is a downgrade from Pogba, which I think is a good point. The reality is with Matic, I think he could come and do a job. However, I firmly believe that Schneiderlin is better than Matic. He's just not been allowed to be the player he can be. I think Schneiderlin and Matic are so similar. It'd be such a shame. Lee Polton there saying he doesn't want Matic. Juve might go for Matic, according to Sky Sports, says Basil. Yeah, I had read about Juventus. I suppose that would help us. James Hogan, Matic is a poor man Schneiderlin. You can't say that, to be honest, but Matic didn't have a great season last year. If you're going to judge Matic on when he was good, which was the season before last, well, that was the season Schneiderlin was good as well at Southampton. I'd agree with that in a certain sense. I just think that Schneiderlin, if you're going for Matic, is a better option. We've already got him. We don't need to spend any money. He's younger. It'd be a massive shame if we go and get Matic. In Mourinho, we trust. We do. However, Kante's better than Matic, says Lynn Hall. I think it's a massive indication that Matic is leaving Chelsea. The one player that I quite like the look of was Luiz is saying he'd be a great signing for United, but Chelsea won't sell him. I think they will sell him, Luiz, now that they've bought Kante. Is it Matic over Pogba? No, I don't think that's anything to do with it. So yeah, the deal. If the deal's done, we've got to live with it. I hope it's not going to happen. I think, as Adam Labelle says there, Matic and Schneiderlin are too similar. If we're getting Matic, we're selling Schneiderlin, and Schneiderlin's not a player I would sell this to him. He falls into that category of Herrera and Memphis, who realistically were abused by Louis van Gaal, not in the report it to the police sense, but in a footballing sense. They weren't used properly, and I want to see them given a chance under a proper manager. We saw yesterday in the Wigan preview, and it was only a pre-season game, but we saw already a different approach to the game where the likes of Herrera were already doing better. Memphis had opportunities to do better. He just didn't take them. And Schneiderlin, when he comes back, will have opportunities to do better as well. So do we need Pogba, Mark, says Rohan? Yeah, I think we do. Pogba is supposedly going to complete it within the next 48 hours, says Andrew Hastings. We did a video last night talking about that, if people want to go on about that. I've not seen anything that suggests that's going to happen. Darren Roberts saying Matuidi would be good for around 20 million. I'd prefer Matuidi over Matic. He'd be cheaper. He's a little bit older at 29, but he's so dynamic and fast into the tackle and strong, and he's a better player than Matic is the short answer. So yeah, I would prefer that. Somebody commented on the live comments. They were talking with the Carrick fan about a comment they'd made on a Full-Time Devils video that got 30 likes. It was about me, and they replied. So I want to know what it was, but I can't see them on the live comments, so I'll keep an eye out for that. But yeah, Matic, not for me. Let's go to these out of 5 scores then that a certain media company are throwing out at the likelihoods of signings coming in, and then we'll talk about Fabinho and other things you want to touch. on. Louise says Pogba is coming. I'm confirmed. I'm happy that's going to happen. I've been confident with that. Some of you on the video I did last night said you're going to look really stupid, Mark, if he doesn't sign. Well, if you want to say that, that's fine. But there's a lot of United fans who think he's going to sign. I've been saying for 2 weeks he's going to sign, but I'm not Paul Pogba's mate. We only hang out socially. We're not good friends, and he doesn't phone me up and say he's going to sign. I'm taking it from all the different sources and all the people I talk from that he's going to sign for us. If he doesn't sign for us, it's no skin off my nose. I want him to sign, but it's not me who's going to look stupid. More people, there's people who will look a bit stupid. I agree, like DiMarzio and stuff like that. But things can change, but I'm convinced it's going to happen. So this out of 5 score puts Pogba at 4.7. The higher it is, the more likely it's going to happen. So 4.7 out of 5 is pretty good. To compare that, Matic is 1.1, and the player in the middle is James Rodriguez, who's 2.5. So 50% chance. Pogba's over 90% chance of it happening. Man United will look stupid, says Limwick 003. Yeah, potentially, but would we be surprised? Because we've had this every year for the last 4 years with the likes of Ramos, Fabregas. So for me, it's a new slate. If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to go mad at Woodward or anything like that, because we've got Marino now, which is totally different. Rodriguez is interesting. James not coming, says Umar. I don't think it will happen. 1 minute videos is saying Sky Sports just said Pogba and James are linked to United. Again, I'd put them up with Sky Sports. L110G7C9 said, I said tell Howson to debate Mark from United stand. It got 30 likes, and they replied saying why. All right, okay. So yeah, James Rodriguez, they are obviously, he is a client of George Mendes. He's a good player. He can play midfield, attacking midfield, right or left. Had this argument last night. Someone said he can't play on the right midfield. He can. He can play on the left. His best position is probably as a number 10. If we bought Rodriguez, I would be very, very happy now that we've got Mkhitaryan, because it means that you can switch them two between right and left. And you've got two very, very good players in attacking positions. And it also means that Rooney has really got to book his ideas up. I think at the moment what's going to happen is Mkhitaryan, unfortunately, will get pushed out to the right, where I think he can do the most damage at number 10, and Rooney will play number 10. If you buy Rodriguez, then suddenly the options are going to go massive. I am looking at the chat more, M79, but we don't do the live comments on this side at the moment, which we will bring that back in. We did that for the watch along yesterday, and I think a lot of you liked it. Would James join United though if we buy Pogba, says 1 minute videos. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's something to factor in as well. I mean, I don't think Rodriguez is going to sign for us. I think if we don't get Pogba, then we might move for Rodriguez, because if you sign Rodriguez, he's going to cost 50 to 60 million pounds. That's 160 million pounds. I can't see it happening, but to be honest, I would like it to happen, because it just gives us loads of options. It's greedy, but it gives us loads of options in the attack. And especially having seen Pereira yesterday, where he was a revelation as a centre midfielder. I don't necessarily think we need to have Pereira playing further forward. We can play him in the midfield. I thought he was brilliant yesterday. He's bulked out a lot. He's done exactly what the likes of Lingard and Memphis should have done. He took his opportunity. He's grown up, and he grabbed the game. He grabbed the game like he did on the US tour last year. So Rodriguez, for me, I think is highly unlikely, but I would like him because he's experienced. He's done so much. He's 25. He's been at Real Madrid. It's not gone fantastically well, but you come to Manchester United, you're appreciated by the fans. You're given a chance to express yourself. I think he could do really well. And it's one of them signings where I wouldn't be putting a load of pressure on him, because we've already got Zlatan, Mkhitaryan, hopefully Pogba. You bring him in, and it's sort of like, well, let's just see what he can do. Rather than normally he'd be your star signing where there's a load of pressure on him. So I would like him. Joshua Sharp says Mahrez would be cheaper than James and arguably better. He would. Chelsea doing their normal trick. They bought Kante, they're now after Mahrez. I think it's really, really sad. But the great thing to take from it is that Leicester already have their fantasy. They won the league when nobody thought it was possible. It's a shame their players are now leaving them. Even if Kante or Mahrez came to United, I would say this is ridiculous. They're leaving a club with Champions League football, where they could just say for another season, experience Champions League football, then go next summer. I think Kante leaving Leicester to go to Chelsea is ridiculous, but that is money. That is money for you. That is why fan channels like the United Stand and all of you lot are so important, because it's there, isn't it? We love the club. We're the fans. They're the most important thing in football. It's the fans, because players, whether they're United players, Leicester players, Chelsea players, they're only in it for one thing: status and money. And that's not a bad thing. But I'm just saying that when you love football and you love Manchester United, the most important thing is things like this and debating with the fans, because we're the one things that will stay constant. You can't trust footballers. You can't trust managers. They'll always be out for themselves. And I think it is sad about Kante, but Mahrez, I would take him, but I do think it's a bit silly that they are leaving that opportunity that they did so well to gain. But there you go, all about money. Do a video, Mark. Who are all going out from United? Says Rohan. Very, very. This is what I always say about the United stand. You're so in tune with it now, the regulars. You're so in tune. Tonight's video, it's normally 9 o'clock. Sunday Night Live is back. It's the flagship show. It's the first show we did when we had no subscribers. We'll always do the Sunday night show, but we've moved it. It's not at 9 o'clock tonight. It's at 8:30, and the reason we've moved it is because it's pre-season, it's off season, whatever you want to call it. We do the weekly videos at 8:30 every night in the week. Funnily enough, and we thought, why have the Sunday show at 9 o'clock when we could just keep everything uniform for the off season? So it will be 8:30 tonight. We will have Zara and a couple of other people, and we will be talking. And I definitely need all you to tune in, because we will be talking about players that are going out the door, which I think is so important. After watching the game yesterday, there's a bit of negativity from Twitter today, because I put a tweet out saying, Mourinho, isn't it funny how Mourinho got so much stick in his first interview from the press about youth, and in his first game we scored 2 goals, and both of them, press, are youth players who score. And a lot of United fans were replying saying, it's only pre-season, it's only Wigan, let's see it when the first game starts, man. Yeah, and all this. And I think, well, name me any other club that actually would have so many youth players involved yesterday. They're saying he had to play them yesterday. Colin says, "Who's Zara?" Tell him, everybody on the comments. Tell him who Zara is. But yeah, so there's a lot of negativity. There seems to be a lot of negativity about, Pogba's not going to happen. He's only playing youth because he has to. That's a load of rubbish. He could have put a first team out yesterday with no youth in it. I'll name it for you now very easily. He could have. Well, we've had to. I'm going to look a bit of a hypocrite now. Shit. The goalkeeper had to be a youth player, I suppose, because we haven't got anybody in goal. But the right back could have been Valencia. The left back could have been Luke Shaw. The centre backs could have been Blind and Bailly. He could have had Carrick, Herrera and Mata. He could have had Memphis on the left. He could have had Ashley Young on the right. And granted, he probably had to play Wilson or Keane up front. But he could have played, what's his name? I forgot it. But you get my point. He didn't need to play the youth yesterday. He did, and he deserves the credit for it. And the press have gone very, very quiet about it now, haven't they? Fabinho, we need to talk about him. Fabinho, Mkhitaryan played as well. Bryson, you could have played Mkhitaryan up front. You could have played Memphis up front. Thank you for that, Bryson. He didn't need to play the youth yesterday, apart from the goalie. So I think he deserves the credit. We played a lot of youth yesterday, a lot of youth. Fosu Mensah, Twansibi, Blackett came on, Varela came on, even though we did sign him. Obviously, Pereira, Will Keane, James Wilson. I probably missed somebody out. We played a lot yesterday, and he deserves a lot of credit. But he won't get it from the press because they're out for him, and they love Pep. In fact, the press are still asleep, probably with their heads firmly up his backside. Pep's, that is. Fabinho, we've been talking about him all summer. So if it did happen, a lot of you and the United stand as well, typically, we talk about deals a long way before they're going to happen. Twansibi did come on, Jamie Rowe, 23, came on for 8 minutes. It was Blackett, says Jamie Rowe. No, that was about half an hour before. Luke Shaw had a run out. Vass, yes, he did. Sarah is a good-looking girl who I'd marry, says Yoshi. Oh, there's a reason to watch the show later. Yashi's future wife. But Fabinho, talking about him a long time, spoke about him last summer. I think he's 21, 22 now. He's at Monaco. He was at Real Madrid, Brazilian. He's been at Monaco the last 2 years. He's been part of what is a very, very good Monaco defensive side. They're very, very good. They don't concede many goals. He's a key part of that. He's over 6 foot tall. He's very quick. He's good in the air. He can play in a number of positions. But he's not brilliant going forward. He's had no assists in 2 years, but he is fast. He's a client of George Mendes. George Mendes, Napoli are interested. George Mendes favours a move to Manchester United. It's quite interesting that we've not actually signed any George Mendes players yet. We expected that to happen. We thought it was going to happen, and it hasn't happened. And it may well happen. There's plenty of time left, but it's all been about Mino Raiola at the moment, and I'm glad it has. Mkhitaryan, Zlatan, Pogba, all his clients, and MR79. We don't have stuff like that. So if you want to be like that, you'll get blocked. And you're a very valued person, but you don't diss women like that. It's disrespectful, and we won't be putting up with it. And I don't think anybody in the live comments would either. It's not that sort of channel. So Fabinho could get him for about £20 million. it puts Darmian's place at risk. I like Darmian. I can't wait to see what Mourinho does with Darmian. He'll probably sell him, but I think he can get the best out of him. And also Fosu Mensah yesterday showed that he's a competent right back. So let's have a look at some of your comments. So Fabinho could happen. It's not definitely going to happen. It was reported in quite a minor bullshit paper. I think it was the Mirror or the Star or the Sun. So there's no credibility to it, but it is something. It's all right, MR79, it's fine. And so we'll just have to wait and see what happens with it. But it's something we've been monitoring and you've been monitoring for a while. So Darmian is Marino's left back, says Lim K003. Mark, can you twerk for us? Mark, would you like a player like Candreva, says Golden Hawkins. Sorry, Mark, my brother was being a dick, says MR79. Lozano, the rock star. I would like Lozano. Valencia would have to leave, says Brett Lee Panton. I like that name. Bernard Joyce says you're a Dolphin. Mark, what you think of Twansibi, Najoma? I mean, all I know about Twansibi is what I've seen in the youth side, and you can see that sort of. You saw it even in 8 minutes yesterday. Mourinho said those people who know about Twansibi, they only need 8 minutes. We know he's going to be a star of the future. I can see. Be interesting to see if he uses him because I think probably at his age, I think he's 19. A loan move to somebody in the Championship would probably bulk him up. He needs to bulk up a bit. He's tall, he's fast. He's a very good reader of the ball. He's very strong and he's good with the ball and he reads the game really well. He doesn't always fly into a tackle. He'll stand off and, play the danger away. So be interesting to see what happens with him. I do like him. I'm not convinced he's ready this season. A loan might be good. Vass says, Mark, I have a question for you. We'll wait for that. The Rockstar says we need Lozano. Won't be till after the Olympics. I would like it to happen. Nick Pasquet, what do you think about Ashley Young? I liked Young yesterday. I know a lot of people want him to be sold, but I'm not like that. I know some of you are, and I haven't got a problem with that. But I'm not one of them fans who just goes sell 10 players, buy 10 players. I want us to. MSTR Hallam 899 says Roshan Williams was in his school last year. Is that the school where he broke the record of Darren Jackson? He's very fast, Roshan Williams. He's probably the fastest player at United, and he's got a great future as well. What will happen with Lozano, we won't know till after the Olympics. Footy Mad 258 saying that there. Ashley Young yesterday on the wing, I quite liked it. That's where he should have been playing. It used to frustrate me what Van Gaal did with players, turning them into left backs and right backs when he's a winger. I expect Ashley Young to stay on because, to be fair, 4 or 5 games a season he plays like Messi, and the rest of them he's pretty average. But he gets United, even if he's not a starter, but you bring him on for the last 20 minutes, he'll run at people, he'll show some passion. I think he's your quintessential bench player, and it's going to be. We're talking about it tonight. You'll be there with us. One of you might say, "Oh, we only need to sell Rojo and Fellaini," but it's not. We can't do that, and we'll be going through it tonight. The squad is too big with the players we're bringing in. We saw yesterday. That squad's got to add 10 players coming back from the Euros and maybe Pogba as well. That's a whole other team to come back to what the squad was yesterday. And who would you kick out of the squad from yesterday, realistically? Varela and Blackett quite easily, but the rest of them, you've got to make an argument. They're either senior pros or they're young players who should be part of it. And this is the thing that's coming around the corner, and this is what we'll be discussing a lot tonight, as well as the latest transfer news. If anything breaks, Pogba maybe. But we are going to lose players in the category of. I'm not saying these players will go, but from these 10, I think we might lose 5. And it's ridiculous to say this, but Herrera, Schneidlin, Memphis, Blind, Rojo, Jones, Fellaini, Young, Valencia, did I say him? Mata, that's 10. That's 10, and there's probably more. And I think half of them probably need to go to get our squad down to a manageable size. Come on, Mark, give answers to my question, says Rohan Gupta. I missed it, mate. Put it up again. Fellaini has to go, says Dare to Memphis 7. Sal Herrera, says Pravda. I thought he played well yesterday. Have you heard of Grimsby Town? Of course I have, Cod Pros. Jesse Lingard, apparently going to get 40,000 a week. Good comment from Noble00. Lingard isn't going to be sold because he falls into that youth category, so I don't think he would go yet. But he's not developed over the summer physically. We're waiting for that to happen. What film did I watch last night? Copland. I was going to get Pacific. I've just watched Band of Brothers. I was going to get Pacific. Somebody told me to get Pacific. I was just about to buy it. And then Copland was on Sony TV or something. I haven't seen it for years. Very good film with Stallone, Howard Keitel. Very, very good film. I'm massively into films. In fact, people have said to me, why don't you do a film thing separate to the United Stand, which I would like to do if anybody was interested in watching it, but it would take a lot more effort to do. But The End's crap. It's a good film. But yeah, so Lingard is a clever player but hasn't got enough to his game, says Avon Game. I think the problem, that's probably, it hits it on the head. If you watch Lingard a lot, he passes to the side a lot. His final ball's not fantastic. He does chip in with a few goals. You know what Lingard is? He's probably an Everton player. He's not a Manchester United player, first team. But if he bulks out and develops very much over this season, he could be a squad player, but he can't. I don't think he can start. I think, I say Daley Blind, you can't win a title with Daley Blind. I don't think you can with him in it. But do a movie review channel, says Dare to Memphis 7. I'd like to do that. It's just time. Give me a shout out, says Bernard Joyce. What about Rashford answer? What was the question? Movie Stand would be a good channel. The Movie Stand would be a good channel. What will happen to Memphis, says Niall Vono. We'll be talking about him in depth tonight. I'll hold that back until the show tonight. I think it's a very, very good question. 1 minute videos wants the chat on the screen. We can do that. Mark, Bonucci or Varane? Varane, I think Bonucci's fantastic, but I think it's very difficult to name an Italian defender that's done well in this league. Full-time movies, Dare to Memphis 7. Where will Rashford play this season, alone or with Zlatan? It's a good question from Jamie O'Hare. I think Rashford can be anything he wants to be. And I maybe don't mention him enough. When I do my starting 11s, I probably don't mention him enough. But I can tell you now, I don't mention him because for me, he's made it. He's going to be an absolute star. Where he fits in this season, I'm quite relaxed about. I don't think he needs to start every game. I just think he needs to develop. He's still very young. He needs to be taken out of the firing line a few times and have a rest. He went to the Euros. He was the star player for 5 minutes. But he will need rest over this season. And that's why we've bought Zlatan. So I think he can play anywhere. Jose205 is saying what he thoughts on Fosu Mensah, which I'll come to now. The United popcorn stand, says Wilf. But yeah, Rashford, I'm relaxed about what he'll do. He's so good, he will be involved, whether he's coming off the bench to play on the right or the left or up front. I think he's got to be Zlatan's backup. I think he'll force his way into the first team a lot of times as well. I'm not worried about where Rashford's going to be. If it was my first 11 at the moment, he probably wouldn't be in it because you'd have Zlatan, Mkhitaryan, Martial and Rooney. That's not... I go with that because I know that's what's going to happen unless we sign Pogba. But if we got Pogba, I'd swap him with Rooney, and that would be my team. But Rashford is going to be the best striker in the world, as Bryson said. He's going to be brilliant. Man United in for Joe Allen, according to somebody, says Ann Kit. We have never signed a Liverpool player in our history. We're not about to start with Joe Allen. Fosu Mensah is still very raw, but I like him. I like the fact that he's confident and he's still very young, 18 years of age. He's going to be a star of the future. I think he's defensive midfielder all over him. But again, I'm quite laid back about as long as he's going to get involved, and he will be. Mark Fabinho rumours, says Mohammed. We've discussed those. Wouldn't be surprised if it happens, but I think we'll have to wait and see what the assessment of the Euros players are, which must be back next week, Darmian especially. You got PS4, Mark? Yes, I have. Mark, we signed Michael Owen. He played for Liverpool, says Umar. No, we didn't sign him from Liverpool, was my point. We never have signed a player direct from Liverpool. Rooney's going to be a big dilemma, says Hamza. Yeah, we'll discuss him tonight. And Bolo, he's gone. That one's gone. We know about that. Who would you sell? Matt Jans. Yeah, we'll do that tonight. Martial, vote for him on the FIFA cover, everybody, if you haven't already. Chris Beaver, do you think the reason we won't sell Fellaini is because no one will buy him? I think some Serie A clubs would buy him. I think, to be honest, that West Ham are about to bid £67 million for Rodriguez, says Jamie O'Hare. Wouldn't be surprised if he went there. But Fellaini, the Serie A clubs who want him, I think, like a lot of things, Mourinho is waiting for players to come back from the Euros. And we'll have to see. Vass is getting angry now. I don't know why. If it's because your comments are on there, they're whizzing through, and it's very, very difficult to pick them up. And when you start reading one, 10 whiz by. So I apologise, Vass. Leave Rooney alone. Oh, he's bothered about Rooney. I know. I appreciate there's a lot of Rooney lovers out there. He's always been a divider. I'm not dissing your opinion if you're pro Rooney. For me, he plays if we don't sign Pogba or another right midfielder. But we'll just have to wait and see. Mkhitaryan's a better number 10. That's the fact. He is a better number 10 than Rooney. So there we go. Lozano or Draxler, says the Rockstar. I know most of you would say Draxler. I would go Lozano because I like the look of what I've seen of him. And I know we've got a massive support in Mexico, and I like to have players from places that we've got support from because I think it's great for the Manchester United brand and our fans worldwide. We're a worldwide club. Will Spanish Dave stay, says Jimmy. 100%, he's not going anywhere. Mark, what do you think about Martial? Lozano, Lynn Hall, read the Bailey showed immense leadership yesterday. They're actually shouting. Bailey did well. I think I wouldn't have him as a starter with Smalling because I think he's going to take time to adapt. And are we willing to give points up at the start of the season? He might, unless we buy a centre-back, he may well go with Blind and Smalling because at least, as much as I don't think you can win a title with Blind, at least they know each other. They're a steady back four, and it gives us something to build off. It's going to be interesting. I think Blind, I want Blind to stay as a utility player. I think yesterday he showed he's a very good left back, and we know he's a decent centre back. He's a better left back for me, but he may well be able to play his way in. Mark, what do you think about full-time Devils? Any patch on the United stand, says Mike Prince. Yeah, I've got no problems with them at all. I think somebody put a comment up on there before asking for a debate between us and one of theirs. They won't do it. They won't do it. That's all I'm going to say. They've got no interest in working with the United stand. I would love to see Manolas at United. Nathan Fitzsimmons, yeah, he'd be my pick of a centre-back. Who do you think we should get for right wing if we don't use Depay? Well, he's not a right winger anyway, Benjamin. We could try him out there, but when he's not doing well in his current position, that is a worry. Ian versus Mark, says Predators. Is he the Joker? Oh, come on, give me somebody credible. I don't think speaking to a comedian about Manchester United is going to be much of a problem. Mark, can we add you on PS4 for Mark? Yeah, we can if you want. Mark, what music do you listen to, says Joey Keane. I do listen to music. I used to be massively into the music around the Britpop area. I really liked bands like Shed 7, Oasis. I liked Blur as well. I preferred Oasis, and then as I got older, I preferred Blur. Pulp, Manic Street Preachers, Ocean Colour Scene, that sort of thing I do like. Coldplay, does that make me a bit old? I don't know. But I do like music, but I tend not to buy songs or albums anymore. I've had that phase. What position do you play, Mark? Dylan 182. Well, I sit on my sofa and I watch football these days. Had a few injuries. There is a video of me doing keep-ups in a suit. I am two-footed, but my legs are starting to go now and I have a back problem. But I would always get them on for charity or to play in one of these five-a-side games if anybody ever asked us. But they never do because they don't like what we do. Adam, no, there's no beef with full-time Devils. Just chicken at Nando's. But they just never turn up. FIFA 16 is beast. You like the Smiths? I do like the Smiths, yeah. Tasty, I do like them. And I really like Ocean Colour Scene. Not Ocean Colour Scene, Stone Roses. Funnily enough, I do like quite a lot of Mancunian music. Some great bands there before the Britpop area. What time is tonight's show? 8:30. Right, let's kill it because it's going. I like this sort of stuff, but we're getting a lot of complaints about the longevity of the videos and how the last 10 minutes is just banter and chat between us, which I've got a plan for, don't worry. And I enjoy this sort of thing. But if you think about what a YouTube channel is and what people want in a video, they want the first 10, 15 minutes where we're talking about United. And we enjoy this banter and everything at the end. So we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen with that in the next couple of weeks or so. But I loved the watch along yesterday. If anybody watched it, you've got to watch it live because you can't go back and watch a 2.5 hour video. I did tweet out my reaction to the Pereira goal. A lot of people said that was overreacting. Go on the Twitter account and have a look at it. I think it's our 5th to last tweet. It wasn't an overreaction because if you understand the background to me and this channel, we love Pereira and we have done for a long time. And I went mad, let's put it that way. But I might put it up on the channel probably tomorrow or something, just the 2 goal reactions, because I think people quite like that. How many retweets on Gary Neville, Josie 205? 160. That was a bit tongue-in-cheek. I did it so that hopefully Gary would notice that he's got a load of tweets from United fans and look at the United stand and think about coming on it. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Let's rejoin. Let's reconvene tonight at 8:30 because I think the big chat tonight is really interesting, and I know you'll be interested in it as much as we're interested, which is who's going to go out the door and who would you get rid of? Because I really will finish with this and stay. Nathan Fitzsimon, what is a United player? A United player, I'll finish with this. A United player for me isn't Ashley Williams. It's not somebody like Drinkwater. It's not Joey Barton. You've got to have a certain standard, and I define a United player by somebody who can come in, play in our first 11 and win as a title, because that's what United should do. We had this conversation with somebody on the chat yesterday who was defending Ashley Williams being in United side, and they said, well, if you've got 10 other players around him who are really, really good, then you can win a title with Ashley Williams. Why buy Ashley Williams? Why not just buy somebody who's really good to play with the other 10 players? That's what a United player is for me. But we'll reconvene tonight. As I said, there are 10 players I think that we're going to lose at least half of. But get thinking about it today. Join us tonight, and we'll leave it there. Mike Prince, hi Mark. Personally, I watched both United Stand and Full-Time Devils. You're much more charismatic, straight to the point. Gaz and Adam say it all. Bunch of hungry payslip mercenaries. Everybody's going to have different things. Like Codbross has just said, when can we buy your merchandise? That sort of goes in. People make their own choice. I like to think that the United Stand is unique. I know people try and copy it, but as people said yesterday, there's only one Mark Goldbridge, there's only one Zara Silverstone, there's only one Joey, there's only one Alex. You might hate some of us, you might love some of us, but importantly of all, what we do, there's only one live comments box, and it's very unique because it pulls in what we're talking about. So there's only one of you, and that's what defines this channel. And I'll keep saying it. We've been doing it for 2 years, and people say it's cheesy, corny. We won the best new vlog at the Football Blogging Awards last year when nobody wanted us to win it, and we won it because we were voted for by you, the fans. We went up and said it was your award. We'll be back there next year. We're not very popular with the other channels because they're all media run and they don't like this new way of doing things. But it works because we put fans at the front. We're not focused on, can we have a chat with Herrera or Mata through their merchandise with predefined questions? We just hit it with what we want to say, with you lot backing it up. And we are 100% a fan channel. We don't want to speak to journalists. We're not that interested in speaking to the players if it's going to be predefined questions. We just want fans, because they're the most important thing, saying what they think. And you do that. And that's what we're about. And it's not corny. So when I say it's all about that live comments, which is what I'm reading all the way through it, that is what it is. And people don't get that. They can copy it, but they won't ever replicate it because we've been doing it for so long and we've got the best viewers on the live comments box feeding what we do. And it makes a brilliant, brilliant team. And that's what defines the United Stand. People can knock it. People can say, oh, you're just being corny or whatever like that. It's not. It's fact. Somebody could do a dissertation on the United Stand from start to finish, and it's constant and why it's successful. It's the people we have on, and it's you, and it bounces off, and it makes something totally unique. Vic Nesh is saying Full-Time Devils is the best. That's his choice. That's your choice. I'm not going to say anything about it. I know what I think, but why should I say anything about it? We're doing very well because of you. Busby TV, United Stand are the best. 8:30 tonight. Lots going on. Bloody loved. Get Squawker Dave on, says Turtle. Squawker are owned by Full-Time Devils. He's under the same contract. It won't happen. So I'd love to have him on. I'd love to have any of them on. I'd go on there and talk to them about football. That's what it should be about. But if you want a straight answer, you'll get it. And also, I want to get yours. My last question about this. A few people have said, will you do a live stream? It'll probably take about an hour, telling us the story of the United Stand, why it started, all through all the fallouts, all through how everybody got involved, all the way through to now. I'm happy to do it. Like Nathan, we're getting into this. Full-Time Devils are better than United Stand. Nahayan is saying it. It's personal choice. I don't want to go down that route. You start asking questions, I'll answer them. There is no beef. There is only chicken. A lot of people like a lot of things. Speak to you all later at 8:30. It's descending into something I don't want it to, because I'm not getting into any arguments with anybody. I will happily, as will anybody on the United Stand, speak to anybody. And I think it would make very interesting watching for you lot. But people want to close shop and look after their brand. That's not what we do it for. Speak to you all later. Thanks everybody for watching. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy your Sunday, and we will speak to you at 8:30. I'm really looking forward to that show. I think it's going to be another interesting one. Speak to you all later. And again, I applaud you all. Fantastic live comment box. Even if it all is going off a little bit with who's better and who's not, we'll have to wait.